I don't know if it's not denial, but like I don't want to watch the game back. I don't really want to think about it. Like, and it's a lot. Like in previous losses, I'm really okay with just watching it back and seeing it through. But that one is something that is almost like traumatic to me to lose because I just felt like we had it and like I don't want to see it again. I mean, dude, like I get back home, I'm on YouTube and everything is just G2 Grand Final, T1. I'm not even on YouTube. I'm not on social media. Like I don't want to see it, which is something that made me help me get over it. But in its own way, like I'm not getting over it because I can't like accept it a bit. Like it's still hard to accept.
Hey everyone, Sejitsu in here. I'm here with G2's IGL Valyn on Media Day. And first off, you had a week break off. I imagine that was just really nice, especially after how busy everything's been. So, talk to me about the past week. Before this interview, you talked about how you visited home in the Bay and got to see your friends and stuff. So how refreshing was that all for you?
Yeah. So, oh, sorry. Do I? Oh, fuck. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah. I just took some time. I visited the Bay after a while, which I have a lot of like lifelong friends there, and so being able to go there for like a weekend and just see everyone kind of recentered me a bit. Made me realize like the position I'm in a little bit because they're doing their stuff in life, I'm doing my thing, and just kind of like connecting again was like, damn, I'm really like just driving through the roads. I'm like, dude, I remember dreaming about being like in the international stage, like we were talking about it, and I guess now we're finally here. So it was a cool reset, and now I'm just back to practicing and getting the mental ready for a long split one.
How often do you go back to the Bay? Because last time I spoke to you back 2024, I think it was going into the finals against Lev. You talked about how you didn't get to see your mom for like 7 months. So how often are you able to just go back and just detach from, detach from Valyn and just be Jacob again?
Yeah, it's not often that you get to, but with this calendar year, Riot like gave you more time with breaks in between, so there is some more chance. But I would say, yeah, like you kind of get like maybe 3 times a year, and then towards the end of the year is when you're like more long-term staying. Like I could stay home for like a month, for example, or like 6 weeks. And that's where you find your time to like spend time with family. But it's kind of sad because you think about it, like you're only home like 3 times a year. The years are going by fast. Like I'm already 22, man. Like, and it's just like I wish I could be home a little bit more, but at the same time, like I understand I'm growing up and like that's a part of life. So we're just continue moving on.
Do you feel like as you grow older, you kind of realize there's not really like a right or wrong way to treat life for certain situations where it's kind of there's always going to be pros and cons to everything, and not everything's going to just be like linear with the choices of am I doing the right thing or am I doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when you're younger, you kind of tend to think in that way of like, is this the right choice or wrong? But now, as I'm older, like you said, yeah, I think some choices you just got to be like, all right, I'm going to prioritize this for now, knowing that like I went and saw my friends for the weekend, knowing that I'm not going to see my family, but I haven't seen those guys in like a long time, and they're basically like family to me. So yeah, you can't get everything, and but we're working on it, and yeah, next time I'm excited more to like spend more time with my fam. So yeah.
That sounds chill. What was the thing that you missed most about the Bay Area? Was it the Giants? Was it the swagger in the Bay and things like that?
The food for sure, bro. The food in the Bay is like insane, especially like Vietnamese food. Like, dude, oh my God, it's so good there. So me and my friends, we just hit up like a bunch of restaurants. Like the sushi there is insane too. Like, bro, the Asian food in the Bay is crazy.
You got to go down to Orange County one day. They got some amazing Viet food. Make your way down there one day.
I would have to because like around here there's not much. So like, so I got to go to OC. That's the next trip, I guess.
Yeah, I'll bring some spring rolls to VCT America's Media. I got you, man.
That would power me up, bro. Yeah. But you got to get like the sauce too. Oh my God.
Oh, the fish sauce? Bro, my girlfriend's Viet. Of course, I got you.
Of course. That's fire.
Well, I want to actually just, wow, I just realized this segment just sounds so dad, but another Southeast Asian country, Bangkok or like Thailand. I kind of just want to pick your brain on that because I've followed your career ever since its complexity, and I've interviewed you even after times where you've had losses like the LCQ or getting eliminated from Reykjavik. But seeing you in the press conference was the first time I've really seen you just, it kind of looked like you were having an out of body experience just after the loss against T1. And then something that I found just really interesting was how you like collected yourself, really thought, and then still were able to pull yourself together to answer a question. What was that experience like for you, just knowing like, you're human and you're feeling these things for the first time, but you're also the leader and you have to step up to the moment and step up to the occasion like that?
I would say it was something that I was definitely prepared for, knowing that I am, the leader of the team, and I try to take that responsibility on, especially when it's questions that people don't want to answer. Yeah. Hell, I don't even want to answer questions after a loss like that. But I know like they would probably have a little spark like hearing that. I know the fans would as well. And so I'm just trying to put on for those people. It was difficult for me to do it, but I was just speaking my emotions, speaking my thoughts in the moment, and that's how I felt. It honestly didn't feel hard to do, because once I accepted, I'm like, just say how you feel. Mm-hmm. That's what came out. And I know a lot of people like enjoyed seeing the raw emotion side of it, so I'm glad for that. But yeah, that was just me like just trying to be the leader for the boys in the moment and just give them a little silver lining, because that was like a really tragic couple hours. Obviously days were sad, but like in that specific moment, it felt like, it kind of feels like the world's crumbling on you a little bit. Like, dude, you had that, like you built everything for this moment, and like you failed so close. But that's life. Yeah. That happens to everybody. So it was our turn to fail like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm curious, because you've had some, major losses, like when you were eliminated Reykjavik or didn't qualify for champs, or honestly in 2023 where M80 just always had your hand, right? But would you say that was kind of the hardest part, the toughest part of your career, that loss against T1? Was that the hardest loss you've taken, or where you are now as a leader and mentally it was easier to manage versus, when you're like 19 and you didn't qualify for champs?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in terms of like the stakes, this was the biggest stakes that I've lost for sure. But like you said, with time, with maturity, with everything, I think it was a loss that I could stomach faster than others. But also I'm a bit like, to be honest, I don't know if it's not denial, but like I don't want to watch the game back. I don't really want to think about it. Like, and it's a lot, like in previous losses, I'm really okay with just watching it back and seeing it through. But that one is something that is almost like traumatic to me to lose, because I just felt like we had it, and like I don't want to see it again. Dude, like I get back home, I'm on YouTube and everything is just G2 Grand Final, T1. I'm not even on YouTube. I'm not on social media. Like I don't want to see it, which is something that made me help me get over it. But in its own way, like I'm not getting over it because I can't like accept it a bit. Like it's still hard to accept. Because man, it really feels like we had that. But yeah, I would say the hardest loss for me was probably getting like dominated by 100 Thieves to not make my first champs, because like I really wanted that, and like that would have been like a life-changing win in terms of like going to champs for the first time, like redeeming ourselves after the poor Reykjavik performance. Like that was a tough one. But yeah, that was probably the worst for sure.
Seems like from a human standpoint, this little break, you really made use of it all, and it seemed like just going back home to the Bay Area, eating some Viet food it was much needed versus just staying and coming back home in LA and just turning on Valorant again.
Yeah, that would have probably made me a little depressed, not gonna lie, if I just came and played more. Like definitely need that little break and just disconnect from the game.
I'm curious, because you're 22 now, and then you've always been very well-spoken with your words, and like come together where it's very composed and all that. But it feels like in 2025, it's been a lot of juxtapositions from where there's all these narratives of how you're like you were the underdog before and you're finally making your way to the top. First time you go into a tournament where you're the favorites, and then you experience a loss that was so close and very devastating. What what's it been like in 2025 for you mentally? Because it seems like it's well, and it's just started, but it seems like it's already just been a lot, where it's just a lot of things happening. So what's this year been like for you, honestly, just speaking to Jacob?
Yeah, so I mean, dating back before the season started, like off season was kind of difficult. I was traveling a lot in Europe, but it was really cool. Like I saw a lot of countries. I was traveling in Europe for like Valorant related stuff, but also some personal breaks. And like that was pretty fire. And then going into like the kickoff was just like a lot of confidence mentally. Like my mental was just like, all right, I'm back in VCT, like second year. With Jogamo, like our practices were looking phenomenal. And once we started getting those first couple wins, I'm like, yep, this is it. Like we're going to do this. And the beginning of the year was like learning how to win. Like we never won a grand final, and it was almost slipping versus Sentinels as well. But that game, that day, we learned how to win. And from there, it was a lot of happiness and like kind of getting over that first hurdle of a team of like win a grand final. Did that. And then now after that long Bangkok run, which it in actual time was kind of short, but we went through so much that it felt like a long tournament. Yeah, it felt like such a long tournament for us. But I think that's because we're just all getting much more mature. We're all learning more. And so the mental has been kind of a roller coaster, but I like it because I'm just understanding everything a bit better through time.
So honestly, just my final question is, because you were talking about how you're still kind of processing a little more of the T1 and everything and kind of just recovering with that. Going into the rest of the season, where you outlined your goals of like, we're going to win Toronto, we're going to go to champs, and we're going to, win that as well. And then you've got some like goals like that. What's kind of your next steps, forward for Split One? Like, how are you going into that and treating it?
I've always been like a baby step guy, like baby step person. I try to instill that in the team. So right now, like steps forward is just win game 1 versus Furia. And from there, like we always got to climb the mountain of getting the championship like slowly. So we're going to climb slowly, get to the grand final of Toronto again, and then win it. So it starts with getting the first dub. Yeah. So that's target right now. That's goal.
Awesome, Valyn. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.